Aaron lived his days on the edge of routine. He worked in a repair station that floated in orbit around a small trade world called Rin. The station was not grand or famous. It was just a stop for cargo ships and travelers moving between the larger routes. Most of the workers were people who had nowhere else to go. People who wanted quiet lives away from the powerful centers of the galaxy. Aaron had been here since he was a teenager, fixing machines, carrying tools, and running small errands. He never thought of himself as important. The repair station was old and noisy. Metal walls rattled when heavy ships docked. Lights flickered sometimes and air recyclers hissed like tired beasts. But Aaron liked it. It felt safe. He had his small room, his regular meals, and a few friends who shared the same boring life. He never dreamed of adventure. One morning, as Aaron tightened bolts on a cargo lift, he heard voices behind him. A ship had just docked and visitors had arrived. Among them was a woman who stood out from the others. She carried a small pack, wore a long gray coat, and her eyes moved across the station with curiosity. Her name was Mira, though Aaron did not know it yet. Mira was a scholar. She traveled between worlds searching for fragments of history that many had forgotten. Most people ignored her kind because history was not useful in a galaxy ruled by alien overlords. Humans worked, obeyed, and survived. They were not encouraged to ask questions about the past. But Mira was different. She believed the past held secrets that could change everything. Aaron noticed her only for a moment before turning back to his work. Visitors came and went all the time. But fate has ways of bringing lives together when least expected. Later that day, while carrying a heavy crate across the docking bay, Aaron slipped. The crate hit the floor with a loud crash and his shirt caught on a sharp corner of metal, tearing the fabric across his back. He winced at the pain but quickly picked up the crate, trying to hide his clumsiness. Workers laughed and teased him, but Mira, who had been walking nearby, stopped in her tracks. Her eyes widened. She stared at his back as if she had seen something impossible. Aaron felt her gaze and turned, confused. "Is something wrong?" he asked. She stepped closer, her voice low and serious. "That mark on your back. Do you know what it means?" Aaron blinked. "Mark? What mark?" Mira pointed at the patch of skin now visible through the torn shirt. There across his shoulder blade was a strange symbol. It was not just a scar. It was a pattern of lines and curves that seemed too perfect to be natural. It glowed faintly as if light lived beneath his skin. The workers nearby had not noticed, too busy with their tasks, but Mira whispered, her tone filled with awe. "This symbol only exists on the Chosen Ones." Aaron laughed nervously. "Chosen Ones? That sounds like an old story." But Mira did not laugh. Her face was pale, her eyes fixed on him with intensity. "It is not a story, it is real. You carry the sign of the Chosen. Do you understand what that means?" Aaron shook his head. He felt uneasy. He had lived his whole life believing he was ordinary. Now this stranger was speaking as if he was part of some forgotten legend. "I think you are mistaken," he said. "I was born on a small colony. My parents were workers. I am just a repairman. Nothing special." Mira lowered her voice even more. "The Chosen Ones appear when humanity is at its weakest. They carry the mark, and with it comes the power to awaken what has been hidden for centuries. The symbol on your back is proof. I have read about it in ancient records. I never thought I would see it with my own eyes." Aaron's heart pounded. He wanted to deny her words, but deep inside he remembered strange dreams he had since childhood. Dreams of giant machines buried in the ground, dreams of stars burning brighter than fire, dreams of voices calling his name though no one was there. He had always ignored them, thinking they were just imagination. Now hearing Mira speak, the dreams returned with a weight he could not ignore. Trying to calm himself, Aaron shook his head again. "Even if this mark is real, what difference does it make? I am just one man. I fix machines. I am not a leader. I am not a fighter." Mira's gaze did not waver. "The difference is that others will come for you. The alien rulers know the symbol as well. They fear it. If they discover you carry it, they will not let you live." Her words struck him harder than the fall earlier. He felt as if the air in the docking bay had grown thin. For the first time, Aaron looked at the world around him not as a safe routine, but as a fragile place that could break at any moment. The day moved on, but his mind did not. Everywhere he went, he felt Mira's eyes watching him. Not with suspicion, but with expectation. He avoided her, but in truth he wanted answers. That night, when the station grew quiet, He found her sitting alone in the small cafeteria, reading from a thin screen filled with text and symbols. He sat across from her. "Tell me everything," he said. Mira set the screen down. Her voice was calm but filled with energy, as if she had been waiting for this moment. She told him about the time before humans were bound under alien control. She spoke of ancient wars, of resistance, and of those rare humans marked with the symbol. They were said to be guides, ones who could awaken hidden human technology, long forgotten but never destroyed. Aaron listened, his hands tightening around the edge of the table. He wanted to dismiss her story as fantasy, but her certainty was unshakable, and deep down he felt something stir, as if the symbol on his back pulsed with every word she spoke. Then she leaned closer. "The aliens will notice. They always notice. When they do, you must decide whether to hide or to rise." Aaron's breath caught. The idea of rising sounded impossible. He was no warrior. He had no army. He only had a small room, a toolbox, and a quiet life. Yet the dreams he had long ignored whispered again, reminding him of something greater. Before he could reply, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed in the corridor outside the cafeteria. Mira stiffened, her hand moving instinctively to close her screen. Aaron turned to see 3 armored figures entering. They were not human. Their tall frames and sharp features revealed them as enforcers of the alien rulers. Their eyes scanned the room with cold precision. One of them spoke in a harsh voice. "We are looking for someone. A worker with a mark. Have you seen anything unusual?" Aaron froze. His mind screamed to remain silent. Mira's hand touched his under the table, a silent warning to stay calm. The enforcers moved closer, their gaze sharp as blades. Aaron's heart raced. He had never been the center of attention before, never had reason to fear. But now, with the symbol hidden under his torn shirt, he realized his life would never be ordinary again. Mira's words echoed in his mind. "If they discover you carry it, they will not let you live." The cafeteria felt colder with the alien enforcers standing inside. Their tall forms moved with silent precision, scanning the tables one by one. Every human worker kept their head down, afraid to draw attention. Aaron sat still, his back tense while Mira's hand pressed lightly against his arm under the table. The leader of the enforcers repeated in his harsh metallic voice, "We are looking for a human with a mark. The mark is a sign of danger. If you have seen anything, speak now." No one answered. The silence was heavy, broken only by the hum of the lights above. Aaron lowered his gaze, trying not to tremble. His mind raced. He wanted to believe they were not here for him, but deep inside he knew. Somehow they had already sensed the presence of the symbol on his back. He remembered Mira's warning. If they found out, they would kill him without hesitation. The enforcer's eyes swept across the room, and for a brief moment, they rested on Aaron. His chest tightened. But then the alien turned away and walked to another table, questioning the workers there. Mira exhaled slowly, her hand slipping back from his arm. After a few tense minutes, the enforcers left the cafeteria, their heavy footsteps fading into the corridor. The humans in the room remained silent until the sound was gone, then quiet whispers spread among them, fearful and uncertain. Aaron stood quickly and left the cafeteria, his heart pounding. Mira followed close behind. They walked until they reached a narrow maintenance corridor, far from the main halls. Only then did Aaron stop. He turned to Mira, his voice low and sharp. "You said they would come. Now they are here. How do they know about me?" Mira's eyes softened. The symbol is not hidden to them. Their sensors are able to detect its energy. Once it awakens, it cannot stay secret for long. Aaron rubbed his face with both hands, frustrated. "Awakens? You make it sound like it is alive. I do not understand any of this. I never asked for this mark. I never wanted trouble." Mira stepped closer, her voice steady. "I know you did not ask for it. None of the chosen ever do. But the mark chooses you, not the other way. You have already felt it, have you not? The dreams? The visions?" Aaron froze. He had not told her about the dreams. He had never told anyone. Mira read his silence and nodded. "I knew it. The chosen are always connected to the hidden memory of our people. The mark guides them. That is why you dreamed of machines and voices. It is not imagination. It is memory passed through blood and time." Aaron leaned against the cold wall. His world felt like it was cracking apart. Yesterday he was only a repairman. Today he was being told he carried the weight of forgotten history. He whispered almost to himself. "Why me?" Mira answered gently. "Because humanity needs you. And because you are not as ordinary as you think." Aaron wanted to argue, but before he could, a loud alarm echoed through the station. The red emergency lights flashed and a voice spoke over the intercom. "All workers return to quarters. Security lockdown in progress." Mira's eyes darkened. "They are searching for you now." Aaron felt a chill. The enforcers were not done. They would sweep the station until they found him. If he stayed, every worker might suffer. Mira grabbed his hand. "Come with me. I know a way out." Together they ran through the narrow maintenance corridors, avoiding the main halls where enforcers marched. Mira seemed to know the paths well, as if she had studied the station's design. She led him to a hidden hatch that opened into a docking tunnel. At the far end, a small smuggler's ship waited. 2 older men were loading crates into the ship. They looked rough and weary, with faces marked by years of hard living. One of them raised an eyebrow when he saw Mira. "You again?" "I told you we do not take passengers unless we are paid," Mira answered quickly. "You will be paid. But more than that, you will be remembered." "This man is marked." The smugglers stared at Aaron, confused at first, then uneasy. They muttered to each other, speaking words he could not catch. Finally, one of them sighed. "Fine, get in. But if the enforcers catch us, we will throw you out the airlock." Aaron hesitated, but Mira pulled him aboard. Moments later, the small ship detached from the docking tunnel. Through the small window, Aaron watched the repair station shrink behind them. His life there was gone now. He would never return. As the ship slipped into the quiet of space, Mira sat across from him. "You must know the truth. What I told you in the cafeteria was only part of it. The mark is not only a symbol of identity, it is a key." Aaron looked up, still shaken. "A key to what?" Mira's eyes glowed with conviction. "To the memory of humanity. To the weapons, the ships, the knowledge we once had before the aliens enslaved us. All of it was hidden, sealed away, waiting for the chosen to awaken it." Aaron shook his head. "That sounds impossible. If such power existed, why has no one used it before?" "Because the chosen are rare," Mira explained. "Centuries pass without one appearing. And when one does, the aliens hunt them down before they can unlock anything. That is why most humans believe the mark is only myth. But it is real. And you carry it now." Her words filled the small cabin with heavy silence. Aaron stared at his hands, trying to grasp the meaning of it all. He had spent his whole life fixing broken machines. Could he really be connected to ancient power? Could he really matter? Mira leaned forward. "There is something else. The mark is not just a key. It is alive in a way. It reacts to places where human technology still sleeps. That is why you dreamed of machines. It was calling you." Aaron swallowed hard. "Where is it calling me to now?" Mira opened her screen and showed him a star map. A faint signal pulsed from a barren moon not far from their route. "There," she said. "That is the first place. If we go, we may find answers." Aaron hesitated, fear gnawing at him. But deep inside, he felt the truth of her words. Something inside him pulled toward that moon, like a voice whispering from the stars. The smuggler's ship changed course, heading toward the moon. Hours passed in silence. Aaron tried to rest, but his dreams returned stronger than ever. He saw images of towers buried in dust, of vast chambers filled with dark machines, of a symbol glowing brighter than fire. When he woke, Mira was watching him quietly. Finally, the ship landed on the moon's surface. The smugglers refused to leave the ship, warning them not to take long. Aaron and Mira stepped out into the barren landscape, their boots sinking into gray dust. The horizon stretched empty, but Aaron felt a strange pull, guiding him toward a ridge of rocks. They climbed, and beyond the ridge, Aaron froze. Before them lay a massive structure half buried in the ground. Its walls were made of black metal, worn by time but still standing. Strange patterns covered its surface, patterns that matched the symbol on his back. Mira's eyes shone with awe. "It is real. The first vault of the old age." Aaron stepped closer, his breath shallow. As he touched the wall, the symbol on his back burned with sudden heat. Lines of light spread across the ancient metal, glowing like veins. The ground trembled. The buried structure groaned as if waking from a long sleep. Mira gasped. "It responds to you?" Aaron pulled his hand back, frightened, but the light did not fade. The structure opened slowly, revealing a dark passage leading inside. Cold air rushed out, carrying the scent of forgotten centuries. For a long moment, Aaron stood frozen. He felt both fear and wonder. Behind that doorway waited something he could not yet imagine. He looked at Mira, who gave a firm nod. "You are the chosen," she said softly. "It is time to remember who we are." Aaron stepped forward, crossing the threshold into the unknown. The shadows swallowed him, and the future of humanity began to stir once more. The ancient doorway opened wider as Aaron and Mira stepped inside. The walls glowed faintly with lines of light that spread like veins, responding to Aaron's presence. Dust floated in the stale air, drifting slowly as if time itself had been sleeping here. The passage stretched downward, carved deep into the moon. Aaron's footsteps echoed softly as he followed the glowing path. His heart pounded, not only from fear but also from something deeper. The mark on his back pulsed with warmth, guiding him forward as if it remembered the way. Mira walked beside him, her eyes scanning every detail with awe. She carried her small screen, recording symbols and shapes that appeared on the walls. "This is the proof I have searched for my whole life," she whispered. "Our ancestors built this place. They hid their knowledge so the aliens could not take it, and now you are the one to open it." Aaron said nothing. His mind was filled with questions but no answers. He had always thought of himself as a simple man, yet the walls seemed to recognize him. It was as if he belonged here. At the end of the passage, they entered a vast chamber. The ceiling stretched high above them, disappearing into shadows. In the center stood a tall pillar of black metal, its surface covered with the same patterns as the symbol on Aaron's back. Around the pillar were rows of silent machines, their shapes strange and old, their surfaces covered in dust. Aaron stepped closer to the pillar. The symbol on his back burned hotter, and the pillar lit up with lines of blue light. The machines around the chamber hummed as if waking from endless sleep. Mira gasped, her hand covering her mouth. The air vibrated with a low sound, almost like a voice speaking from deep inside the metal. Words formed in a language Aaron had never studied, yet somehow he understood. Human blood recognized. Kibera confirmed. Awakening sequence initiated. The machines began to move. Dust shook loose from their surfaces as gears turned and lights flickered alive. Aaron stumbled back, overwhelmed, but Mira caught his arm. "Do not fear," she said softly. "It is responding to you. This is what the mark was meant for." Aaron stared at the machines. Some looked like great towers, others like sleek vehicles. They were unlike anything he had ever seen. The aliens ruled the galaxy with advanced technology. But this felt older and more powerful, as if built for a time when humans had stood tall and unbroken. The pillar pulsed with light again. "Memory archive accessible," the voice said. "Do you wish to receive?" Aaron hesitated. "Receive what?" Mira answered, her eyes wide. "Knowledge. The memories of the old age. You must accept it." Aaron swallowed hard. He placed his hand on the pillar. The moment he touched it, light surged through his body. His vision blurred, and he fell to his knees as images flooded his mind. He saw a great city of glass towers reaching into the sky. He saw ships of silver cutting through space, powered by energy he could not name. He saw humans standing in council halls, their voices strong, their eyes bright with pride. Then he saw war. Alien fleets burning across the stars, battles fought with desperate courage. And finally, he saw the fall when humans lost their freedom and their power. Aaron gasped, pulling his hand back. His chest rose and fell as if he had run a great distance. His mind spun with images and voices. Mira knelt beside him, concern in her eyes. "What did you see?" He took a deep breath. "I saw what we were. I saw what we lost." Mira touched his shoulder gently. "Then you understand now. This is why the chosen are feared. You carry not only a mark but the memory of our people. With that memory you can awaken what has been forgotten." Aaron stood slowly, still trembling. He looked around at the machines, now alive with faint light. For the first time he felt something new inside him. Not just fear, but a sense of purpose. But before he could speak, a loud sound shook the chamber. The ground trembled. Mira turned sharply, her face pale. "The enforcers," she whispered. Aaron listened. Faint echoes of metallic footsteps rang through the passage they had entered. The aliens had followed them. Mira's voice was urgent. "We must leave. If they see this place, they will destroy it." Aaron looked at the machines, then at the doorway. He clenched his fists. "No, we cannot let them take it. These machines are ours. This is who we are." Mira hesitated, then nodded. "Then we fight. But we have only what is here." As if answering his determination, the machines around them stirred more strongly. One of them, a tall frame shaped almost like armor, opened with a hiss of air. Inside was a seat glowing with faint light. Aaron felt the pull of the mark again. He knew it was meant for him. Without thinking, he climbed into the machine. The metal closed around him and the lights inside came alive. A voice spoke in his mind. Pilot recognized. Interface complete. Aaron gasped as the machine moved with his thoughts. He raised his arm and the machine raised its arm. He took a step and the machine stepped forward. It felt natural, as if he had been born for it. Mira watched in awe. You are inside a Guardian unit. These were the defenders of the old age. With one of these, you may stand against them. The sound of footsteps grew louder. The enforcers entered the chamber, their weapons raised. Their cold eyes locked on Aaron inside the Guardian unit. One of them hissed, the mark bearer. Eliminate him, they opened fire. Bright shots of energy flew across the chamber. But the Guardian's armor absorbed the blasts, shimmering with protective light. Aaron's fear turned into instinct. He moved his arm and the Guardian responded, releasing a burst of energy that struck the aliens. 2 of them fell, their armor cracking under the force. The others retreated behind the doorway, shouting in their strange tongue. Aaron's breath raced, but a strange fire grew inside him. For the first time, he was not running. He was standing, Mira shouted from the side. We must leave before more come. The Guardian cannot fight an army alone. Aaron looked at the machines still awakening. Can we take them? Mira shook her head. They need time and we do not have it. But you have taken the first step. That is enough for now. Reluctantly, Aaron stepped out of the Guardian. The machine powered down but remained glowing faintly as if waiting for his return. Together, he and Mira fled through another passage that opened at the back of the chamber. The structure seemed to guide them, paths lighting up before their steps. They emerged outside, the barren moon stretching before them. In the distance, the smuggler's ship waited. Aaron and Mira ran, the mark on his back still burning. Behind them, the chamber rumbled, sealing itself once more as if hiding from the eyes of the aliens. When they reached the ship, the smugglers stared in shock. What did you do down there? The ground shook like thunder, Mira answered quickly. We found proof, and now we must leave before the enforcers return. The smugglers grumbled but launched the ship. As they lifted off, Aaron looked down at the moon. He knew the aliens would not stop. They would search, destroy, and hunt him across the stars. But he also knew something else. He was no longer just a repairman. He was the bearer of the mark. The Guardian had answered to him. And somewhere inside him, the voices of the past whispered with pride. Mira sat beside him. Her voice was calm but strong. This is only the beginning. The aliens will fear you now. They will strike harder than before. But others will hear of what happened. Humans will remember. You will not be alone. Aaron nodded slowly. Fear still lived inside him, but alongside it grew something stronger. A flame. For the first time in his life, Aaron believed he had a purpose. The forgotten history was no longer forgotten. It was alive within him, and it was waiting to rise. The smuggler's ship drifted away from the barren moon, its engines humming quietly as it entered deep space. Aaron sat near a small window, staring at the shrinking gray surface below. His thoughts were heavy, filled with the images he had seen inside the ancient chamber. Towers of light, ships of silver, guardians standing tall in battle. Those visions refused to leave him. Mira sat nearby, writing notes on her small screen. She recorded every detail, from the glowing walls to the guardian that had answered to Aaron. Her eyes shone with excitement, but also with worry. She knew what this discovery meant. Once the alien rulers learned what had been awakened, they would not remain silent. The smugglers, 2 older men named Bram and Keo, whispered to each other in the corner of the ship. They had seen the glow on the moon and had heard enough from Mira to feel uneasy. They did not speak much to Aaron, but their glances revealed both fear and respect. Finally, Bram broke the silence. That symbol on your back. I have heard stories of it when I was young. Old tales told in whispers. I never believed them. Now I do not know what to believe. Aaron turned from the window. His voice was quiet. I do not know what to believe either. Yesterday I was only a repairman. Today I am told I carry the weight of all humanity. Mira spoke firmly. It is not only a story now. You saw it. You touched the memory. The Guardian recognized you. The Chosen cannot hide forever. Aaron lowered his gaze. He wished for the comfort of his old life, but he knew there was no going back. The enforcers had seen him. The mark had revealed itself. His dreams had turned real. The ship continued its silent journey until the smugglers guided it toward a hidden human colony, far from the trade routes. The colony was built inside a hollow asteroid, protected by layers of rock that shielded it from alien patrols. Life there was poor, but free from direct control. When they landed, Mira led Aaron through the dim tunnels of the colony. People looked at them with suspicion, but Mira whispered to those she trusted, and soon whispers spread quickly. By nightfall, a small group of humans gathered in a hidden hall to see Aaron. The room was filled with faces hardened by years of labor and fear. They looked at him with a mix of doubt and hope. Mira stood before them, her voice steady. "You all know the stories. The chosen one marked by the symbol. I tell you now, those stories are true. The mark has returned, and he is here among us." She gestured toward Aaron. He stepped forward reluctantly, pulling back his shirt to show the glowing symbol on his back. Gasps filled the room. Some people bowed their heads, others whispered prayers while a few looked afraid. An older woman stepped forward, her eyes shining with tears. "I have waited my whole life to see this. My grandmother spoke of the chosen when I was a child. She said they would rise when our people had nearly forgotten who we were, and now you stand before us." Aaron felt the weight of their eyes, the weight of their hope. His voice trembled as he spoke. "I do not know how to lead. I am only learning what this mark means. But I saw what we once were. I saw our cities, our ships, our pride. We were not always slaves. We were strong, and I believe we can be strong again." A murmur spread through the crowd. Some faces brightened, others remained fearful. Bram and Keo stood near the back, arms crossed, watching carefully. Mira raised her voice. "The aliens will not stop. They will search every world for him. But this time we do not need to hide. This time we can resist. We can awaken the old machines. We can rise again." The hall filled with cautious cheers. For the first time in years, hope flickered among them. That night, as the colony slept, Aaron sat awake in the small room given to him. He stared at the ceiling, listening to the faint hum of the air systems. The mark on his back pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. He remembered the Guardian, the way it had moved with him, the way it had shielded him from fire. He felt both fear and excitement. Mira entered quietly, carrying her screen. "You cannot rest?" Aaron shook his head. "How can I? They are out there hunting me, and these people now believe I can save them. What if I fail?" Mira sat across from him. "The chosen are not perfect heroes. They are human. They doubt, they fear, but they act when the time comes. That is enough. Already you have done what no one else could. You have awakened the first vault, and there are more." Aaron looked at her. "More vaults?" She nodded. "Scattered across the stars. Each one holds pieces of what we lost. If we can reach them, we can build strength. We can gather tools to fight back." Her words stirred something in him, a path still uncertain but clearer than before. He knew then what his purpose must be. The next days passed quickly. Word spread through the colony. Humans came quietly to see Iran, to look at the mark, to hear his words. Some were filled with hope, others with doubt, but all felt that something had changed. For too long they had lived in silence and fear. Now whispers of rebellion returned, but hope carried danger. The aliens were not blind. Soon patrol ships began to search the nearby sectors more closely. One evening, alarms rang through the colony. Scouts had spotted alien warships approaching the asteroid. Panic spread among the people. They had no fleet, no weapons strong enough to resist. Many shouted to abandon Iran, to hand him over and save themselves. Others refused, saying he was their chance for freedom. Aaron stood in the center of the hall as chaos raged around him. His voice rose above the noise. "Listen to me. If they take me, they will still destroy this colony. You know how they rule. They crush any place that dares to hope. We must stand together. We must fight, even if it seems impossible." Silence followed his words. Fear still clung to their faces, but his courage gave them pause. Mira stepped beside him. "He is right. The aliens want more than him. They want our spirit broken. If we run now, we will run forever. If we fight, even if we fall, others will rise. And that is how freedom begins." The colony leaders hesitated, but finally they agreed to resist. They had old mining ships, not built for war, but strong in structure. They had tools that could be turned into weapons. And most importantly, they had the will to stand. The asteroid trembled as alien warships drew near. Aaron's heart raced as he entered the command chamber of the colony. On the screens he saw the dark shapes of the alien fleet approaching, their weapons glowing with cold light. The mark on his back burned brighter, almost urging him forward. He closed his eyes and listened to the whisper in his mind. The ancient memory guided him, showing him paths of strategy, ways to use even weak ships against powerful ones. He spoke quickly to the leaders. Do not face them head-on. Use the asteroid's tunnels. Lure them in. Strike when they least expect. The humans obeyed, hope shining in their eyes. The mining ships launched, their engines roaring as they darted into the darkness. The aliens advanced, confident as always. The first clash was fierce. Alien fire struck the surface of the asteroid, tearing into rock. But the mining ships hidden in tunnels burst out with sudden speed, striking the enemy from behind. Explosions lit the void. For the first time in years, humans fought not as prey but as hunters. Aaron stood in the command chamber, his voice steady as he gave orders. He felt the ancient memory guide him, strategies flowing like water through his mind. Every move he made turned desperation into defiance. The battle raged on. The aliens destroyed some ships, but the humans refused to break. Even as the colony shook under fire, the people shouted with pride. Finally, after hours of struggle, the alien fleet pulled back. The humans had not destroyed them, but they had forced them to retreat. The colony survived. Cheers erupted through the tunnels, voices filled with joy and disbelief. Aaron stood among them, exhausted but alive. For the first time, he saw humans standing tall, not in fear but in victory. Mira's eyes shone with pride. Do you see? This is the rising flame. One victory will light another. Soon others will hear of this. Humanity is not broken. We are still here. Aaron felt the fire burn stronger inside him. The chosen mark was no longer a burden alone. It was a call. A promise. And now he knew that this was only the beginning of a greater war. The colony celebrated long into the night after the aliens retreated. For the first time in living memory, humans had forced their rulers back. Songs were sung in the tunnels, children danced, and old men wept with joy. But Aaron could not rest. He knew this battle was only a spark. The aliens would return with greater force, and next time they would not underestimate humanity. Aaron sat alone in the quiet chamber of the colony's council. The mark on his back pulsed faintly, like a constant reminder of his role. He closed his eyes and felt the whisper of the ancient memory again. It showed him visions of more vaults hidden across the stars, each holding fragments of humanity's lost power. Ships, weapons, knowledge, courage. If he could reach them, he could give his people the strength to stand against their oppressors. Mira entered the room, her steps soft. She placed her data screen on the table. Scouts say the aliens are gathering again. A fleet 5 times larger is heading this way. They will not leave survivors, Aaron nodded. He had expected this. Then we cannot wait here. We must move. The vaults hold the key. If we stay, we will be crushed. If we travel, we may yet rise. Mira's eyes met his. Do you truly believe we can win? The enemy rules thousands of worlds. Their armies are endless. Aaron's voice was steady. They believe we are weak. That belief is their blindness. Every victory we take, no matter how small, weakens their grip. Humanity was once free. We will be free again. The next morning, Aaron stood before the colony. The people gathered, faces filled with fear and hope. He spoke with all the strength in his heart. The enemy will return stronger than before. We cannot remain here, but we are no longer slaves hiding in the dark. We have fought and we have won. Now we must carry this fire to the stars. We will seek the old vaults. We will awaken what has been lost. And together we will rise. The people cheered, voices echoing through the tunnels. Some were afraid to leave, but many volunteered to join him. Pilots, engineers, miners, even children who carried dreams of freedom. They were tired of hiding. They were ready to fight. Bram and Keo, the smugglers, approached Aaron after the gathering. Bram smirked. You have a way with words, boy. We will help you, though I still think you are half mad. Keo added. Mad or not, you give them something worth following. Count us in. With the colony's resources, they prepared a fleet of mining ships, cargo haulers, and small craft. They were not warships, but they carried human hearts that now burned with courage. Aaron stood at the front, the chosen symbol glowing like a beacon of hope. The first vault they sought lay hidden on a frozen planet at the edge of a dying sun. The journey took weeks, during which Aaron trained alongside the people. He learned to fight, to pilot, to lead. He was not a perfect warrior, but he listened, he cared, and he inspired. That was enough. When they reached the frozen planet, storms raged across the surface. The vault was buried under ice, but the Mark guided Iran. He led a team through blizzards until they found the entrance. Inside, they discovered ancient engines of war, small fighter ships built by human hands long ago. Though old, they were powerful and could be repaired. The people worked day and night restoring the fighters. Hope grew stronger. For the first time, humanity held weapons that could match their oppressors. But the aliens had followed. Their fleet descended upon the frozen world just as the fighters came alive. The sky filled with fire as human and alien ships clashed. Aaron piloted one of the newly awakened fighters, the Mark glowing as if it merged with the machine. His instincts sharpened, guiding him through battle. The humans fought with all their strength. The aliens were stronger, but the humans fought with something greater than power, freedom. Every strike, every maneuver carried the weight of survival. Against all odds, the humans broke through the alien lines and forced them back once more. Victory came at a cost. Many lives were lost. Yet the people did not grieve in despair. They grieved with pride, knowing their fallen had died for freedom. Mira stood beside Aaron as they watched the survivors repair their ships. "We are no longer the hunted," she said. "We are becoming the hunters," Aaron nodded. "But the war is not over. They will return again and again. We must continue. We must find every vault, every weapon, every piece of our forgotten past." The months turned into years. Aaron and his people moved from world to world, seeking vaults, fighting battles, and spreading hope. Every victory inspired more humans across the stars. Colonies once silent now whispered his name. Slaves began to rebel. The fire of freedom spread like a storm. The aliens grew fearful. They sent larger fleets, darker weapons, crueler punishments. But the more they struck, the more humans resisted. The Chosen One had awakened something they could not kill, the spirit of humanity. At last, the greatest challenge came. The alien rulers gathered their full force, a fleet that darkened the skies of a captured world. Their leader, a towering being of shadow and power, declared that humanity's rebellion would end that day. Aaron stood on the bridge of a human flagship, surrounded by Mira, Bram, Keo, and countless others who had followed him since the beginning. His fleet was smaller, his weapons fewer, but his people burned with courage. He spoke to them over the comms, his voice reaching every ship. "Today we stand against the greatest force the enemy can bring. They believe we are weak. They believe we are broken. But we are not. We are human. We endure. We fight and we rise. If we fall today, others will rise tomorrow. If we win, the stars will remember that humanity cannot be chained. Stand with me, not as slaves, but as free people." Cheers erupted across the fleet. The humans charged into battle. The clash was like none before. Alien warships unleashed storms of fire. Human fighters darted between them, striking with precision. The sky burned with explosions, the ground shook with thunder. Aaron's fighter danced through the chaos, guided by the Mark. The ancient memory filled him with strength and courage. He fought not for himself, but for every human who had ever bowed their head in chains. Mira commanded from another ship, her voice steady as she directed the fleet. Bram and Keo led squadrons of fighters, laughing even in the face of death. The humans fought as one, hearts united. The alien leader descended to the battlefield, a giant clad in armor that shimmered like night. Aaron landed his fighter and faced the being on the ground. The symbol on his back glowed brighter than ever, casting light across the dark plain. The alien's voice thundered. "You are nothing but a fragile creature. Your kind will always kneel." Aaron raised his head, his voice clear. "We kneel no longer. We are chosen not by destiny but by will. Humanity chooses to rise." The battle between them shook the ground. The alien struck with power, but Aaron's courage gave him strength. The Mark guided his every move. At last, with a final strike, the alien leader fell. The alien fleet faltered, their will broken. The humans pressed forward, forcing them to retreat. The battlefield fell silent except for the cries of victory. Aaron stood among his people, the Mark glowing softly as if at peace. Mira approached, her eyes shining. "It is done. We are free." Aaron looked at the sky, filled with stars. "Not just free, alive, and now we must build again. Humanity will not only survive. We will rise higher than ever before." The people cheered, their voices echoing across the world. The fire of humanity had burned away the chains of slavery. From that day forward, the stars would remember that humans were not weak. They were strong, defiant, and unbroken. The chosen one had lit the flame, but it was the people who carried it. Humanity had proven the truth that would never fade. This was their galaxy too, and no power could ever silence them again.